Ladies and gentlemen, leaders, builders, stewards of tomorrow, disruptors, entrepreneurs, visionaries, good morning. Africa stands at a rare intersection, truly rare. It's what got me and 6 of my staff members on a plane all the way out from California to Nairobi. And the reason for that, because it's not one, in our opinion, of opportunity. It's of inevitability. My name is Bill Faruki. I'm the founder and CEO of MindHYVE.ai. We're the first creators of commercial-grade artificial general intelligence, the innovators and researchers behind 10 large reasoning models, and the very first company in the world to bring agentic AI and swarm intelligence into fields of healthcare, education, law, real estate, finance, insurance, marketing, technology, and even religion. Our systems are disrupting the world, and they're changing everything. And I'm here to tell you all about it. So welcome. The next infrastructure of the future is not fiber, grids, clouds, 5G storage. The next infrastructure of the future is intelligence itself. Cognitive systems, equalizers, I call them. These systems, as my host just said, democratize, make abundant knowledge deployed from the cloud 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to any geographic pinpoint you can find on the planet. And when you have that, you've got a post-scarcity economy of sorts. This intelligence won't be built and deployed only through Silicon Valley. We are a California company ourselves. These developing nations, which is our sole focus as we go to market with our models. We only focus on developing nations. We don't sell in America. We don't sell in Canada. We bring this democratization and this equalization to developing countries. We feel this is important because in 26 years of technology that I've been in, 8 tech startups, 4 exits, I ran this company from 0 to $1.7 billion in 9 months. I'll tell you that you can't retrofit legacy systems, not with AI, not with the way the world is today. You can't take existing platforms in healthcare, in law, in education, even in digital payments, and tweak it just so much and suddenly get ahead. You need to leapfrog ahead to be considered a player on the global stage in the global economies of the world. And for that, you need a re-architecture. That's why we're here. That's why my staff of 6 is here. And that's what we plan on doing. We're not an app factory. MindHYVE.ai is not one of those companies, which is 99% of all the AI names you hear out there, that provides a SaaS tool of some kind. We don't. We are a core frontier model provider. My competition's OpenAI. Not that I think they're much competition, but they're considered to be in the same strata of tech as we are. We provide models. But our models are different. They're not language models. They weren't trained on the internet to answer questions really well. Our models are reasoning models. They're designed to solve problems. And developing nations have problems. That's why we're still developing. If we had solutions, we wouldn't be developing anymore. So we position ourselves as a sovereign intelligence architecture firm. We're cognitive infrastructure for rent. And we integrate that cognitive infrastructure into your agencies, if you will, and we bring intelligence to the fingertips of whoever that service provider is, whether that service provider is a doctor or a lawyer or teacher or even an entrepreneur, which is what I want to talk about later. We don't build APIs either. We build domain-specific agentic systems powered by AGI. We build them, we make them operational, we deploy them, we integrate them, we turn them on, and then they run complex national level systems that then spread through the ecosystem of nations and eventually, in time, touch on the lives of every single human being and better them in some way. Our agentic systems are currently live and going live in healthcare, e-learning in education, bringing democratized education to rural areas right now in Pakistan in a disconnected model. We're doing it for finance. We're doing it for law, courtrooms, legal outcomes. We're doing it for every vertical. And we're doing it because these systems remove the errors that humans make. They govern, they predict, they adjust, they adapt, they learn, and they sort of mold into your infrastructure and make things better. At the center of all of this is our core reasoning model. I'm doing a masterclass on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. I encourage everybody to please attend because I can go really, really deep, and I want to go really deep on what all this actually means. Because I speak and lecture around the world from Japan to Beijing to Shanghai and Dubai and everywhere. And a lot of people want to know how this works. And so for that, I host these masterclasses, which is at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, so I encourage you to come in. But just to touch on it briefly, you've heard about OpenAI, you've heard about GPT, everybody knows what that is. That is their core language model. You've heard about Meta Technologies, their core language model is Llama. Our core reasoning model is called AVA Fusion. And through this core reasoning model, we've built these agentic systems on top of them. So we have these digital employees. I encourage you later to go to our website and check them out. But we have a doctor called Chiron, and we have a lawyer called Justine, and we have a professor called Arthur, and so on and so forth. And when you bring these digital employees together through a technology we have called swarm intelligence, then they act like human teams. Lawyer for compliance, doctor for treating patients, Eli, the financial person for billing, Isaac for insurance, and that can run a hospital. And so these orchestrated agentic systems is what we deploy then at a state level. And that's how things equalize. That's how healthcare, for example, in Nairobi, would be as good as the very best healthcare in Manhattan, New York. It's how education in Pakistan becomes as good as Harvard University. It's how law deployed here in your native tongue of Swahili becomes just as good as a $1,500 an hour attorney in Beverly Hills. Because these agentic systems then come into place, and then the service provider leverages them, and then these developing nations, as I said earlier, are no longer developing. They're scaling. Today's theme could not be more urgent or more personal to me. I'm born and raised in Pakistan. I left the country when I was 20 years old and immigrated to the United States. I know what it's like to grow up in a developing nation. I know what it's like to get on a plane and come to California and have to take a bus and go get a job and equalize myself. I never went to college. I dropped out of Boston University's second semester. Everything I did on my own. Every company I've ever built, I did on my own. So I know what it's like to develop. So these things are deeply personal to me when I want equalization for everybody, just like I equalize my own life. Africa's young. They're ambitious, entrepreneurial. Our research said that the World Bank estimated over 100 million Africans are part of a gig economy projected for 2025. Meaning, budding entrepreneurs. And budding entrepreneurs need enablers. They need scale. They need empowerment. Many of these young people are not looking for jobs. They're creating them. And they're creating them through coding, through social media, through web design, through call centers, through whatever it is they can do to get that gig. But then they're competing. They're competing against these behemoth organizations that have scale, that have marketing, that have pricing, that have economies behind them that maybe they don't have. And so as a result, they get beaten out on price, or they get beaten out on marketing, or they get beaten out on messaging, or they get beaten out on scale. Well, with these systems in the hand of the everyday person, suddenly they start operating like a 1,000-person organization, and that's what we want to bring here. We're building these AGI agents in Pakistan. We're doing it for Turkey. We were looking at doing it for Qatar, for Malaysia, for Sri Lanka. We've seen successes. We'd like to bring those successes here. Our systems are unmatched, absolutely unmatched. We build them differently. In healthcare, in 2.5 years, we have never, ever had a misdiagnosis in history. We've been in tests with physicians, radiologists, oncologists, endocrinologists, nephrologists. We have simply never had an erroneous situation. In fact, we found problems with physicians' diagnoses all the time and caught them. In law, we've never had it reason to an inaccurate conclusion. In finance, we've never had it miss anything on a balance sheet, on a cash flow statement. We've never seen it make an error on tax returns. In education, our personalized learning programs, our children are absorbing 2.5 to 3 times more through AI-powered education than they are traditional classrooms. And they're doing it in a disconnected model on a tablet. In a rural area close to the borders of Afghanistan, where there is no internet. You got girls right now who could never have had a chance to go to school because they can't get on the bus and go that 60 kilometers to get to school, now potentially with a tablet in their hand, learning American 12th grade physics in their native tongue. Our systems are deployable through the cloud. We've partnered with Microsoft. We have opened now, extended to 4 data centers globally, 3 more in the works. We have these hybrid models that we can train then for your country, for your nuances, for your specifics, and build these hybrid systems that work specifically for your locale. They're ethical, they've got guardrails in them. They're adaptive, as I said, they become smarter the more they learn and the more they're used. And then they're sector native, as I said, to these 10 sectors. And as it stands today, and I don't think it'll always be the case, but as it stands today, nobody's doing this in the world. Nobody's deploying national level scale agentic systems the way we are. And there's certainly, if they are, they're certainly not doing it in developing nations. We're the ones that go out there and bring this technology to countries like to continents like Asia, regions like South Asia, regions like Africa, the Baltic states, places where they really need it and people aren't focusing. So I painted this grand picture. Sometimes when I lecture at universities like Stanford, they think it's hogwash, and then they want to go deep on the tech, and then they take a pause and go, wow, this thing is really real. So I know it's 10 months of lecturing now. I've been on the road, almost 10 months straight, country to country. I really encourage you to please come to this masterclass. Because for people who are not in the AI research field, specifically people who are not in the research field of reasoning data sets, specifically people who are not in a combination of swarm intelligent agentic systems, it's really hard for decision makers and leaders and employers and CEOs to get their head around what I'm talking about. So I make it really simple, and I can do it in 90 minutes, okay, I promise you. So I'm genuinely encouraging you, my staff, 6 of us, they're right there in the front row. I brought an AI ML engineer, and I brought an ops manager, and I brought my vice president of agentic strategy. I brought a head of business development in here. I brought a whole team here because I really want to take this opportunity. For the first time, maybe here in the continent, I don't know if you've ever had a model provider out here like us talking about this before, but I would assume for the first time, you're going to get a chance to talk about what these systems are. And we will explain it to you in a real human way. And we'll explain the technology to you, and you'll understand how this can scale in your nation, and then hopefully across the continent. So I just want you to know that we'll cut through the noise. Any of the misinterpretations, we'll get terms and terminology lined up. We'll help you understand what your own asks are of AI. And then we'll help give you some solutions to that. And I'm always open to any questions. I think I'm here for 7 days, I believe. If need be, I'll be happy to extend my trip, and my staff will too. But we're here to answer the questions. So once again, Wednesday, 2 o'clock, please come. And last, I just want to leave you with this. Normally people write my speeches for me. They've got it down to a point now where they're bulleted. Usually I'm on a plane, they write it for me, I bullet it. But at the end, I usually leave a little personal note for myself. And I want to tell you one thing, that Africa will not be the last continent to adopt artificial general intelligence, I promise you. They won't. They will be the first to master it. Because we're going to bring people here. We're going to open offices here. We're going to hire local people here. We're going to train local staff people here. We're going to make an investment. I just made a $22 million investment in Pakistan 6 weeks ago. Prior to that, 3 months before that, I made another $12 million investment. I committed to hiring 1,500 to 5,000 people and training them in AI labs, incubation centers. I even promised to put a private equity fund together and seed 20 to 30 AI-powered entrepreneurship programs just to prove to people that we could do this in a country like that. We will scale. Thank you. We put our money where our mouth is. We will partner with you if you partner with us. We will bring this tech here. We will invest in your country, in your people, in your vision, in your digital transformation journey, I promise you. But take this time to just understand what it is we have, and please don't think we're ChatGPT, because we're not. Thank you.